Hey guys, it's Chris. So what I'm talking about today is why humanity is not born atheists. I've heard time and again atheists make the argument that everyone is born an atheist, that no one comes into life with any knowledge or realization of divinity. And I just have to say this is utterly false. The reason for this all too common fallacy is the fact that these atheists in question are only used to looking at religion from mainstream modern era, and I think that's the case with most atheists, where we have numerous religious schools, institutions, families, and resources of all kinds that teach and even indoctrinate and force children and adults into one religion or another. And they assume that this has always been the case. However, it has not been. And to see the truth of the matter, we only have to go back to our evolution into the species that we are today. Now, the argument is no one is born with the knowledge of God. That's basically the argument. Now, I would first like to point out that no one is born with the knowledge of anything other than basic instinct. Humans are not born with the knowledge of science, math, architecture, mechanics, computers, or even how to go to the potty. And since we're on the subject, where do basic instincts even come from in the first place? But going back to my point, just because something is taught to you does not necessarily mean it's false. Now, as far as the argument itself, it's true that humans are not born with the knowledge of any particular deity or doctrine, but it's absolutely not true that humans are born atheists, and I'll tell you why. When we first came into being, there were no churches, there were no priests, there were no books, there were no schools or even established religions or spirituality, yet we felt the belief in higher powers within ourselves. This was a belief that developed as part of our mental and physical makeup. It was not something that was forced into us from the outside because there were no outside forces to push it. We felt spiritual ourselves, and we developed our own belief systems and established our own religious practices. If humans were born atheists, we would have evolved as atheists. We would have never felt or thought of any such thing as deity, spirituality, or religion, certainly not by majority. It simply would not have existed to us. But human beings are naturally spiritual and religious creatures. Secondly, the human brain develops an organizational system for external information. We are born with the ability to recognize and interpret patterns in the universe and make conclusions based on those patterns. We're born looking for patterns. We're born looking for all of this. Patterns equals larger intelligence. We are born looking for larger meanings, things bigger than ourselves, and we are therefore born looking for divinity and deity. The point being, such a construct or mindset is there by the very nature of being human, and it's extremely hard to change or even convince yourself of something outside of it, which is why human beings have not accepted atheism by and large throughout their existence as a species. Um, you know, it is to say that atheism is a learned mentality. You have to learn to ignore the larger meanings, the larger patterns, the larger intelligence. You have to focus on the belief that everything is an accident with no purpose and we're all just floating aimlessly. So in conclusion, it's simply false that the human race is born atheist. We never were such a thing as a species, and we never will be.